This might just be the best YouTube filming setup I've ever made, and it's not an all-in-one rig. This is why and how you can make something similar. Hi everyone, it's Simon. Welcome back to Better Creating. I thought it was about time I filmed a video a bunch of you have been asking me to film for a little while now, how I film my videos, and to show you that all-in-one filming setup that I've previewed a few times on the channel. Well, good news and bad news. I'll show you, but it's no longer an all-in-one stand. Today, I'm going to actually show you the best improvements that I've made to my filming setup in absolutely years to make a filming rig that splits in two, sound and video, and the tips and tricks that I've learned for building out a great filming setup as someone who's not really a camera expert. But I mean, you've got to say that's looking pretty serious, isn't it? Now this setup, whether you're going to spend loads of money or keep it nice and budget, I think it's a great bit of inspiration that removes friction, simplifies your workflow, and massively improves both the quality and variety of what you can record. Think of this simple video as a quick breakdown of the best bits of tech I use to film videos and how I use them so you can get some inspiration. Links below as always, and yes, whilst not everyone will be building out a setup quite like this, I'm a full-time creator, and these ideas I think can still be applied if you want to save a few bucks and do a little bit less. Let's dive into it. First up, I want to talk about why I've made the switch from an all-in-one. Now, if you've been following Caleb Pike on DSLR Shooter on YouTube, or any creator really who champions the all-in-one rig approach, you'll understand why it's so popular. Everything in one place, grab and go convenience, all on wheels, the fewer things to manage the better. So I made myself one and even attached my iPad as a monitor on a monitor arm and used it for years. But after years of shooting this way, I realized that in reality, it's actually less flexible and less useful than you first think. It's kind of cumbersome, heavy, and not easy to move around. Sure, all-in-one YouTube rigs look cool, how it all joins together in that system, but in reality, really, it was only good for filming at my desk. And when I thought I would be moving it around the studio with ease and filming different things, it was actually really annoying. It was cable management, not being able to separate audio and video when you wanted to get like longer distance shots. And if I wanted to take it out of the studio, it was a massive teardown. Now I've got a really flexible modular system that can be used together. There's the mic and there's the video, but I'll cover that true game-changing element of this setup in a moment, the audio setup. But first, we got to talk about this beauty. All right, we've gone to the 13mm 1.4 Fuji lens if you're interested. And this is me at about 28mm. So I thought I'd use two different focal lengths and show you what we can do with this mic before we get into that. But this thing is the camera rig, and it took me a long time to perfect it for a frictionless workflow, and now I absolutely love it. So I'm still using my Fuji X-H2S, but I've added a proper camera cage from SmallRig with a NATO rail on the handle, so it's really easy to take off. And that has really been a game changer, mostly for the fact that because you've got a handle, it kind of negates putting everything on a rolling stand. If you put this on a light tripod, it's just so much easier to pick it up by the handle and move it where you want. So all that chasing of wheels, a handle and a light tripod, so much better. Okay, so here's what's mounted to it. We have got a V-mount battery adapter. This single upgrade gives me easily a day of continuous streaming or filming versus the swapping of camera batteries that you used to have to do every few hours when recording. It means it doesn't just cut out when I'm in the middle of a live stream. And I went to the hinged V-mount plate, which is super nice to use. It's from Newer. I would say this is a very similar quality to the more expensive SmallRig options and just as effective. And the joy of a V-mount battery is that you've got lots of different output ports and input ports. And there's two-way charging via USB-C. So you can charge it and charge other things with it. Now, I finally invested in a monitor. And that USB-C is meaning that I can actually just charge the monitor with USB-C as well. And I went for the Viltrox DCX2 monitor secondhand to replace my iPad setup. But there are some great cheaper options out there. This thing is smaller than an iPad, it's built for purpose, but I think after a load of research, this felt like the best combination of quality and price. And I've got all these things like focus peaking, false color, better brightness for shooting outdoors. It will go up to 2000 nits. The other great thing is it comes with everything. You get a cover for outside that just acts as a protector for the screen, and you can have the mount for the monitor as well. But I've actually decided to mount it using this, a mini friction arm from Small Rig, and for good reason. My favorite thing about this is that most people might just want to have their monitor mounted on here, because then they're like, you know, filming like you naturally would. But as a YouTuber, I'm sometimes filming my phone, I might need it like that, or sometimes I'm filming myself. I might need it like, say, that. So I really love this approach since it's super easy and quick to move it around. Now, I've also added this. It is an affordable teleprompter from Prawn Store on Amazon. It's around $35 and it holds my iPhone, as you can see, and it just hangs right on the front of the lens. There are these little lens rings that are different sizes that come with it. You drop that on, slide it on there, and then you have got the most portable prompter and filming kit that you're going to possibly need. What's really cool is someone can even hand hold this and you can still have the teleprompter attached. This is fantastic because you should have seen the massive one that I had on the rig before. Whilst it was great, it was total overkill. $35, Amazon, it's your answer. And what I'm using here is the Prompt Smart Pro app, and that actually tracks what you say. And best of all, I can add my script notes from my Mac directly. It's paid for, but I think it's worth it. But let's face it, the real magic here has got to be the use of wireless audio. And I am using the Rode Wireless Go receiver mounted onto the cage to make that happen. We'll get onto what is probably my favorite part of the setup in a moment and how it's working on this stand. But there's one more trick I want to show you for this rig before we go further, and that is about how you monitor your audio. Now, there's lots of ways to do it. I could just put headphones in this, but what if I'm over here and my camera's over there? Imagine I'm filming on this. This is a little Aventry relay, and it's about $30, I think, ish. It's designed for traveling on planes. So you plug it into the plane so you can listen to music. I mean, I guess you're getting the idea. Watch your movie on the plane. I can actually plug it into my camera monitor. It doesn't look great, but now I've got a very cheap way to put my AirPods Pro in my ears and transmit the sound. So when I'm checking my audio on that, it's all good. If that doesn't deserve a like and subscribe, I don't know what does. But let's move on to the next really cool part of this audio setup. Now, where I used to mount my entire camera rig on this stand, I now just have a mic, a recorder, and a little hidden transmitter. Okay, the stand does look like overkill, but actually this heavier stand, it's a heavy duty stand from Newer, makes a really super maneuverable and easy to use sound stand because of that weight. And this is the Zoom F3 recorder. Now, I've tried a bunch of other cheaper and more expensive XLR interfaces and recorders, and this one is easily the best for both a balance of flexibility, affordability, and quality. Now, first of all, it records in 32-bit float, meaning that you can never have bad levels, essentially. I mean, people will argue this point, let's not get into the depths of that, but it's really useful to save you from accidentally peaking. You can pull it back in post. But the best thing is it's small, and it also has a very good line out, meaning you could send that audio cable directly into your camera to either have scratch audio or just to bake it all in for a quick process when you're making YouTube videos. Because sure, I can record on this, but then I can also record on the camera. One of the advantages is I don't need to plug this thing in, so it takes AA batteries, but I'm also using this, which is an MPF battery. I can plug in USB-C into it. I've got a Small Rig MPF battery adapter attached to a bespoke, actually, Small Rig cheese plate designed for the F3, which is really worth getting for it. And then the whole thing is just bolted together, and I can just easily clip that battery on, and I've got full power for the setup. I can even use it to power this thing. Now, as you can see here, I'm also using this with what I would describe as my end game mic. This is the Sennheiser MKH50 dialogue condenser microphone. So if you can afford it, just get it. It has dramatically improved my sound quality. Now, it does need phantom power, which is what the Zoom F3 provides, but the key innovation is mounting everything on that rolling stand with a super clamp. So it means what you can see see here is I have a super clamp. I've then got an extension arm with a spigot, which I can attach that to. And then screwed into the super clamp, I've also got a little cold shoe mount adapter, which means I can also put the Rode Wireless Go on there, plug in the line out, and we've got a fully spec'd wireless system. So you might also notice here, I've got an old mic stand, but on the end of it, I've actually attached a Insta360 invisible selfie stick. And the reason is it makes this super easy to adjust, not only with that, but here. That is the power of the Insta360 invisible selfie stick extension arm. So there is the mic system, but the magic that ties it all together is this little box in here, which is the Rode Wireless Go 2, my oldest purchase. They are way more useful than I ever realized. So why go wireless at all? So there are a bunch of cool use cases for wireless sound transmitters that when plugged into serious mics or headphones can be absolute game changers. First, on my audio rig, while I'm recording in 32-bit flow on here, I can also do transmitted audio to my camera. So that's a second source of recording. And then thirdly, this unit can also be set with the app to record. So I've got a redundancy of 3 different types of recording, meaning that it's really easy to sync later on if I want to use this quality sound. But honestly, I'm just loving recording directly into camera and it's all baked in. Now, the other great advantage of using a power system on here is that when I'm not recording, I can unplug this and I can take that cable round underneath and actually charge the Wireless Go system at the same time. So it means it keeps it topped up. The problem with charging this at the same time as recording is it will create a loop with a hum. So if you're plugging everything into your rig and you're finding that, you need one of these. This is a ground loop noise isolator. It's super cheap. I think people use it for car hi-fis. You just put this in and it stops it from happening. So you will need a second cable. I'll link it below if you're interested. And on that note, here are 2 more unique ways to use a set of wireless transmitters like the Rode Wireless Go that can make your setup super awesome. Now, as you might have noticed, I'm actually using a different mic right now and it's still coming in through the camera. I'm on the Shure SM7B and that is plugged into the Rodecaster Duo that I use for my desk setup for streaming and tutorials on my computer. Now, the cool thing is I can connect the other Rode transmitter to the Rodecaster's line out and send it through back into the mobile camera. It's a game changer. You could even do this the other way, pairing the transmitter on the audio rig to the channel on your Rodecaster, and then you could have an overhead mic on a camera or whatever the sound is that's going into the camera straight into the Rodecaster for things like streaming. Awesome. And of course, you could use the Wireless Go for wireless monitoring as well by connecting them to a pair of headphones like I showed you a bit earlier. I want to talk to you about one other form of wireless monitoring, and that's for video. Now, if you're a Sony user, there is a really great app that you can get to do this, but I'm a Fuji user and the Fuji X app is pretty good to remotely start and stop recording and check your framing while you're using the camera. So check that out if you're a Fuji user. And this also prevents those tiny bumps and movements that can ruin a take if you knock a camera between shots. And that means I can therefore be completely self-sufficient without constantly having to run them back and forth to the camera to press the button, wondering if everything's working. So that's a really good trick to remember too. So how has this split system transformed my workflow? Well, first, setup time is actually faster despite having 2 systems. I can position each component independently without a compromise of an all-in-one approach. Second, I can make micro adjustments to either audio or video without disturbing the other. And need to shift the frame slightly? No need to reposition the mic. Third, troubleshooting is simpler. If there's an issue with audio, I know exactly where to look without dismantling the entire rig. And finally, the cordless nature means that I'm not tethered to a specific spot. I can move around freely during longer shoots without worrying about cables. In fact, unexpectedly, I now use these everywhere and even take them on field trips with lighter stands. Genuinely, it's awesome. Well then, on this channel, I'm in the business of finding ideas, tools and tech like this that can help you make your life better. So for the productive tech accessories that have had a much bigger impact on my life than even this camera rig, I think you should probably watch this video next or click this one because YouTube apparently thinks you're going to love that too. It would be great if you subscribed if you haven't by clicking my face, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.